Or that this is a foundation dam. No, not hard.
That's what it says in the donation
That would be wrong.
Okay, supposedly we're going.
Okay, supposedly you're going.
Yeah, the little clicker is counting off seconds anyway.
Let just a couple people sit down.
Yeah. Hey. How are you? I don't know. We got all the chairs.
Chairs are full.
Oh. Well, thank you all for coming out on a snowy evening. I've still got 8 miles and 5 switchbacks to go to get home, so I'll try and be brief. But you know that's impossible for me. I think I know almost everybody here, but for the one or two who don't know me, my name is Greg Knott, and I am a member of the Watershed Council. I represent the North Valley up there, and I'm also on the Methow Watershed Foundation, which is very confusing, but basically think of the foundation as the banking arm of the Watershed Council. That's how we raise our money through grant funding and that sort of thing. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to show 2 short films, and then the promised panel discussion kind of fell apart, probably because I didn't try hard enough. But one panel member's daughter's having a baby, and another one took off somewhere, and the ecology person decided that there were more important things to do in Yakima. So, you know, that's the way it works sometimes. So what you're going to get is a presentation by me, and it will be on setting in-stream flows. And we're not going to talk about what's right or wrong about in-stream flows. What we're going to talk about is if we ever have to go through that process, what it looks like. So we'll move on from there. I'd like to thank a couple of organizations and people. First, the Methow Conservancy, who helped us a lot on this, including, where's Dan? There he is. Okay, Daniel, thank you very much. Your projector especially is appreciated.
Happy to help away.
Yeah. And also another organization called well, now it's called Cascade Fish, but not quite officially, and Natalie and I are both associated with that, but it's the Columbia Cascade Fisheries Enhancement Group.
Cascade Columbia.
That's why we call it Cascade Fish these days, because I can never remember the name, and I'm on the ding-dong board. Anyway, and they have helped us a lot through their outreach efforts as well, so I do thank them. If any, has everyone been to the Grange so we know where the exits are and the bathrooms are in the back and so forth? Okay. So with that, I'd also like to introduce the chair of the Watershed Council, Ashley Thrasher. Would you like to say something about the Watershed Council at all? Or?
I sure can. Give a little spiel. I think most of you have probably heard this before, but I'm the chair of the Watershed Council. Greg is the chair of the foundation and formerly the chair of the council forever, before last year. The Watershed Council is a citizen-led advisory group. We've got 9 members, 3 of which are the initiating governments. So that's the town of Twist, the town of Winthrop, and the town in Okanagan County. And then there's 6 citizen members that represent the Upper Valley, Middle Valley, and Lower Valley, and then 3 at-large members. And our mission is to do public outreach and education, such as programs like this, and to advise the governments on decisions regarding water. Yeah, thanks all for coming.
This is the first of a series. The next one will be in February, and it will be Kent Woodruff will talk about beaver, the introduction, and present a film, and then answer questions from the audience and so forth. And the third one will be something that is kind of near and dear to my heart. I've been doing quite a bit of research on it. If anyone has taken a look at the NOAA climate forecast, it looks like hot and dry for another 9 or 10 months into next winter. So it's time to start talking about drought management planning. It's being done throughout the world and throughout the West. And it's not a popular topic because it means the people that have water are going to have to be thinking about, well, what about the people who don't have water? And that's traditionally not the way we regard water in the West. And so we'll do a program on that. And then the last one will be Blue.
It's called Blue Heart. It's Patagonia. It's one of their latest releases. It's a beautiful film about Eastern Europe, European rivers and sort of some fights to keep them open and keep some dams out of it. If you haven't ever thought about traveling to the Balkan states, you probably will after this video because it's really gorgeous, and I highly recommend coming out and seeing it in April. And we'll be at the Barnyard Cinema.
Yep, up at the Barnyard. And that's where we're going to talk a little bit about storage and some of the other issues with water management, because as we all know, that storage is going to be a big issue in the valley here as time moves on as well. So we'll continue on with that. And unless anyone has any questions or any comments at this point, I could introduce all the members of the foundation and council who are here, but I'd introduce about 2/3 of the audience. So I don't think I'll bother with that. But do we have the technology to watch the film?
Yes, we do.
Shall we?
Yeah. So this movie's called Chasing Water. It's about Peter McBride. It's 2011, and it traces the Colorado River and kind of the head out to the delta. This movie doesn't explicitly talk about in-stream flow, but when looking through some videos, I thought this one was really quality and would be a good view. It kind of talks about sort of in-stream subtraction of water, the opposite of in-stream flow. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and play this. This will be about 19 minutes, and then we'll be followed up by another video.
What are we doing to ourselves, Pete?
We're eating ourselves up. We run out of water after about 2 miles when we're trying to navigate our way down what was once the Colorado River, which looks far from a river, more like a desert. I have way too much stuff in my pack.
A friend once told me that this river is a Western plumbing system, nothing more. I nodded as if I understood. I didn't really understand what he meant at all until I marched 90 miles across this forgotten, ancient landscape, this dry river cemetery. My name is Pete McBride. I've worked as a photojournalist in over 60 countries, documenting other people's stories. This is my own backyard story. As a kid, I grew up chasing water around our family cattle ranch in central Colorado. I spent my summer mornings moving portable dams and linking pipes to gravity-fed sprinklers. Our irrigation water comes from 14,000-foot peaks above our valley. Snowmelt supplies mountain creeks, and we divert a portion into old ditches, spread it across our fields, and grow hay to feed a small herd of cattle. Each August, I spent long hours cutting hay. When you're driving a hay barn, you sit high above the field, staring at the results of your summer's work, and I often used to think about water. I wondered how much went into our field and how much returned to the creek. From the creek, that water flows north into the Roaring Fork River, turns west, and 30 miles later joins the Colorado, that mighty western river known as the American Nile, a lifeline for an arid west. Starting high in the Rockies, the Colorado winds 1,500 miles to the Sea of Cortez. It drains 7 states and supports 30 million people. At least that's what I've read. Beyond my backyard, I never knew where the river really went, other than a few landmarks like the Grand Canyon. I wondered how long it would take our irrigation water to reach the sea. So I decided to follow the river, source to sea, and find out. I started my journey in Rocky Mountain National Park at the river's headwaters. There, I joined a friend. John Waterman is a writer who was also curious about the river. He decided to paddle the entire length of the Colorado.
Well, are we ready to swim? I'm scared. Now, can you help me put my life jacket together?
I paddled with John for a couple days, where the river is not much larger than one of our irrigation ditches.
What were you thinking with that log? I thought it was good. Get out of the boat.
As the river moves out of the high country, I left John to get a different view. I realized I couldn't see the whole river from a boat. My father also happens to be a great bush pilot.
Shape up, hurry up.
You ready yet?
You know, this plane costs about $300 an hour to fly, and you dinking around?
We started flying sections of the Colorado near home, and immediately I started seeing how many straws are drinking from the river. The state of Colorado has a dilemma. 80% of the water lands on the western mountains, but 80% of the people live on the eastern plains. From the air, I could see water on the west diverted to growth and its thirst for water on the east. My father and I flew west, shadowing the river across western Colorado and into the Utah desert. It was fun for a change to pretend I was my father's boss.
You see those horses back there on the right? Can you do a quick 180? Got it, got it.
But really, we were just father and son, two buddies flying the river. As the river cuts through the Colorado Plateau, its flow is doubled by the Green River, the largest tributary. confluence, I watched the river enter the first of its desert seas, Lake Powell. Glen Canyon Dam was finished in 1966, and the canyons were flooded before I was born. I visited Lake Powell many times as a kid, but until I saw it from the air, I really had no idea how big it was. Today, the lake is shrinking. The West is in its second decade of drought, and everywhere I look, those 100-foot bathtub rings reminded me of how much water we once had. Below Lake Powell starts the Grand Canyon. To continue my aerial advantage, I left my father to fly with local pilots who knew the routes above the Grand. I also spent 2 weeks inside the canyon on a raft trip, and I thought about my friend's comment that the river is just plumbing.
See, our dog used to go outside.